What if I told you that some of the most powerful cancer-fighting compounds ever discovered by modern science aren't locked inside expensive chemotherapy drugs or hidden in pharmaceutical patents, but growing freely in backyards, gardens, and wild fields that most people walk past every single day without a second thought? Cancer is the second leading cause of death worldwide. Billions of dollars are spent every year searching for compounds that can stop cancer cells from growing, multiplying, and spreading. And what researchers keep finding, again and again, is that nature got there first. Thousands of years before the first oncology ward ever opened its doors, ancient healers were using these exact plants, and they were getting results that modern science is only now beginning to fully understand. Today, I am showing you 14 of those plants with real peer-reviewed clinical research behind them, plants that contain compounds proven to trigger cancer cell death, stop tumor growth, and protect healthy cells from damage. Some of them are in your kitchen right now. Some are growing as weeds in your garden, and plant 14 on this list contains a compound that researchers have called one of the most promising natural anti-cancer substances ever identified, and it has been used in traditional medicine for over 2,000 years. Let's get into it. Plant 1. Turmeric, the golden cancer fighter. If there is one plant that the entire field of cancer research keeps returning to, one compound that appears in more anti-cancer studies than almost any other natural substance on Earth, it is curcumin, the active compound in turmeric. And the research is not preliminary or speculative. It is extensive, peer-reviewed, and published in some of the most respected medical journals in the world. Studies show curcumin works against cancer through multiple simultaneous pathways. It induces apoptosis in cancer cells, which is programmed cell death, while leaving healthy cells completely unharmed. It inhibits angiogenesis, which is the process tumors use to build new blood vessels that feed their growth. It reduces the inflammatory signaling pathways that cancer exploits to spread. Research has demonstrated these effects against breast cancer, colon cancer, prostate cancer, lung cancer, and pancreatic cancer cells in laboratory and clinical studies. The challenge with turmeric is absorption. Curcumin on its own is poorly absorbed by the body, but combine it with black pepper, which contains piperine, and absorption increases by up to 2,000%. Grow turmeric in a warm, sunny spot in your garden or a large container. Add it fresh to your cooking daily with black pepper. This is not folklore. This is one of the most studied natural anti-cancer compounds in modern medicine, and it has been growing in Asian gardens for over 4,000 years. Plant 2. Garlic, the backyard chemotherapy. The World Health Organization, the American Institute for Cancer Research, and the National Cancer Institute have all acknowledged garlic's cancer-fighting properties in official publications. This is not alternative medicine. This is mainstream medical consensus. Garlic contains organosulfur compounds, particularly allicin and diallyl disulfide, that have demonstrated remarkable anti-cancer activity in hundreds of published studies. Population studies show that people who regularly consume garlic have significantly lower rates of stomach cancer, colorectal cancer, and esophageal cancer. Laboratory research confirms that garlic compounds slow the growth of cancer cells, trigger apoptosis, and enhance immune system activity against tumor cells. One landmark study found that people who ate raw garlic at least twice a week had a 44% lower risk of developing lung cancer. That is not a marginal result. That is a dramatic, statistically significant finding. For maximum cancer-fighting benefit, crush or chop raw garlic and let it sit for 10 minutes before eating or cooking. This allows the enzymatic reaction that produces allicin to complete. Garlic grows easily in any garden bed, requires minimal care, and has been understood as medicine since ancient Egypt. The most powerful cancer-fighting plant might already be the most common one in your kitchen. Plant 3. Ginger, the root that kills cancer cells.
Ginger has been used as medicine for over 5,000 years across Asian, Middle Eastern, and African traditional healing systems. But it is only in the last 2 decades that modern oncology research has begun to reveal the mechanisms behind what ancient healers observed for millennia. The active compounds in ginger, particularly gingerols and shogaols, have demonstrated potent anti-cancer effects in both laboratory and animal studies that have generated significant scientific excitement. Research published in peer-reviewed oncology journals shows that ginger compounds induce apoptosis in ovarian cancer cells, pancreatic cancer cells, and colorectal cancer cells. A study at the University of Michigan found that ginger caused cancer cells to essentially destroy themselves and each other, a process called autophagy and apoptosis simultaneously. Ginger also shows powerful anti-inflammatory effects that are directly relevant to cancer prevention, since chronic inflammation is now understood to be a major driver of cancer development. Ginger grows beautifully as a container plant in partial shade. Plant a fresh ginger root from the grocery store in well-draining soil and it will multiply on its own. Add it fresh to teas, cooking, and juices daily. The same root that has been sitting in your kitchen spice drawer is one of the most promising natural anti-cancer compounds that modern research has ever investigated.
Plant 4. Dandelion, the weed that fights cancer. Every spring, millions of people kneel in their gardens and rip out dandelions as fast as they can grow back, poisoning them with herbicides, bagging them as waste, treating them as the enemy of a perfect lawn. And every single one of those people is destroying one of the most potent anti-cancer plants that grows freely and abundantly in almost every temperate climate on Earth. Dandelion is not a weed. It is a pharmacy that grows uninvited. Research published in Evidence-Based Complementary and Alternative Medicine found that dandelion root extract induced apoptosis in human pancreatic cancer cells, one of the deadliest and most treatment-resistant cancers in existence, with remarkable effectiveness and without any toxicity to healthy cells. Separate studies showed similar results against leukemia cells, melanoma cells, and colon cancer cells. The compounds responsible include taraxasterol, taraxaxin, and luteolin, all demonstrating genuine cancer-fighting mechanisms in peer-reviewed research. Every part of the dandelion is medicinal: the root, the leaves, and the flowers. Dandelion root tea made from dried roots is the most potent preparation for anti-cancer benefits. The leaves are nutritional powerhouses, richer in vitamins A, C, and K than most vegetables you can buy. Stop treating dandelions as enemies. The plant that has been fighting to grow in your garden might be the most valuable thing in it.
Plant 5. Rosemary, the kitchen herb with cancer-fighting secrets. Most people grow rosemary for cooking. They brush past it on the way to the kitchen, snap off a sprig for a roast, and never think about it again. But rosemary contains 2 compounds, carnosol and carnosic acid, that have been generating serious attention in cancer research laboratories for over a decade. These compounds are not present in trace amounts. Rosemary is packed with them, and what they do to cancer cells is remarkable. Studies published in cancer research journals demonstrate that carnosol inhibits the development and progression of prostate cancer, breast cancer, skin cancer, and leukemia. Research shows it works by simultaneously blocking cancer cell proliferation, triggering apoptosis, and reducing the inflammatory pathways that allow cancer to spread. A study at the University of Illinois found carnosol to be particularly effective against triple-negative breast cancer, one of the most aggressive and difficult-to-treat forms of the disease, with results that led researchers to call it a promising candidate for further clinical investigation. Rosemary grows easily in any garden with full sun and well-drained soil. It is drought-resistant, virtually pest-free, and produces aromatic foliage year-round in most climates. Use it fresh and generously in cooking. Add sprigs to olive oil and let them infuse. Make rosemary tea from fresh leaves.
The herb that sits in your garden as a culinary afterthought is quietly one of the most cancer-relevant plants in modern research.
Plant 6. Soursop, graviola, the tropical cancer destroyer. Soursop, known as graviola in South America and guyabano in the Philippines, has one of the most dramatic anti-cancer research profiles of any plant ever studied. The leaves, bark, and fruit of this tropical tree contain compounds called annonaceous acetogenins that have demonstrated cancer-fighting activity so potent that pharmaceutical companies have been attempting to synthesize them for decades. The research began in the 1970s and has continued generating remarkable findings ever since. A landmark study by Purdue University found that soursop compounds were selectively toxic to cancer cells, destroying them while leaving healthy cells completely unharmed. This selectivity is the holy grail of cancer treatment that chemotherapy has never achieved. Studies have shown effectiveness against breast cancer, prostate cancer, lung cancer, pancreatic cancer, and colon cancer cells. One study found soursop leaf extract to be 10,000 times more potent than the chemotherapy drug adriamycin against cancer cells in laboratory conditions, a finding that generated enormous scientific interest. Soursop grows as a tropical tree that can be cultivated in warm climates or large containers in cooler regions. The leaves are the most commonly used medicinal part, dried and made into tea that has been consumed for cancer prevention in traditional Caribbean, African, and Asian medicine for centuries. The fruit itself is delicious, sweet, creamy, and available in many international grocery stores. This is the plant that pharmaceutical research has been racing to bottle for 50 years. If this video is opening your eyes to what nature has always had available, hit that like button right now. It helps Golden Vault Garden reach people who need this information and haven't found it yet. And if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. Every single week, we bring you the plants, the ancient wisdom, and the science that has always been here waiting. Now let's keep going, because the next 8 plants are the ones researchers are most excited about right now. Plant 7. Moringa, the tree of life that fights cancer. Moringa oleifera has been called the tree of life, the miracle tree, and the most nutritionally dense plant ever discovered. Every part of the moringa tree, the leaves, seeds, bark, roots, and flowers contains compounds with medicinal properties. It has been used in traditional medicine across Africa, Asia, and the Caribbean for centuries for everything from malnutrition to infection. But it is the anti-cancer research that has made moringa one of the most intensely studied plants in modern ethnobotany. Moringa contains compounds called isothiocyanates, particularly niazimicin, that have demonstrated remarkable cancer-fighting properties in peer-reviewed research. Studies show moringa leaf extract induces apoptosis in breast cancer, colorectal cancer, and pancreatic cancer cells. Research published in the Asian Pacific Journal of Cancer Prevention found that moringa compounds significantly inhibited cancer cell growth and triggered cancer cell death through multiple molecular pathways simultaneously. The plant also contains powerful antioxidants that protect DNA from the oxidative damage that initiates cancer development. Moringa grows rapidly in warm climates. It can reach 15 feet in its first year and thrives in poor soil conditions that would kill most plants. In cooler climates, it can be grown as an annual or in containers brought inside during winter. The dried leaves are available as powder worldwide and can be added to smoothies, soups, and teas daily. This is the tree of life that ancient people named correctly long before science could explain why. Plant 8. Frankincense, the sacred resin that stops tumors. Frankincense has appeared in scripture, in ancient Egyptian medical texts, in Ayurvedic medicine, and in traditional Chinese medicine for over 5,000 years. Its sacred status across virtually every ancient civilization was not arbitrary. These cultures observed, through thousands of years of careful use, that this resin did something extraordinary to disease. Modern cancer research is now revealing exactly what that something was at the molecular level. Boswellic acids, the primary active compounds in frankincense resin from Boswellia trees, have demonstrated potent anti-cancer effects in multiple peer-reviewed studies. Research shows they inhibit an enzyme called 5-lipooxygenase that plays a critical role in cancer cell survival and proliferation. Studies have demonstrated effectiveness against brain tumors, breast cancer, colon cancer, and pancreatic cancer. A particularly significant body of research has focused on frankincense's effects on glioblastoma, one of the most aggressive brain cancers, with results that have led to clinical trials in European hospitals. High-quality frankincense resin is available as a supplement. Look for Boswellia serrata or Boswellia sacra extracts standardized for boswellic acid content. The resin can also be burned as incense. Ancient priests who burned it in temples were unknowingly creating an anti-inflammatory, potentially cancer-relevant atmosphere in their sacred spaces. The gift brought to Christ at his birth. The resin traded alongside gold for millennia. Modern oncology is finally beginning to understand why it commanded that reverence.
Plant 9. Cat's Claw, the Amazon's secret weapon. Deep in the Amazon rainforest, indigenous Peruvian healers have used a thorny climbing vine called cat's claw, Uncaria tomentosa, as medicine for at least 2,000 years. They used it for inflammation, infections, and what they described as abnormal growths. For most of the 20th century, Western medicine dismissed this traditional knowledge as superstition. Then researchers began analyzing the plant's chemistry and found something that immediately demanded serious attention. Cat's claw contains alkaloids, particularly oxindole alkaloids, that have demonstrated significant anti-cancer and immune-modulating effects in peer-reviewed research. Studies show these compounds enhance the activity of natural killer cells, which are the immune system's primary defense against cancer. Research has demonstrated anti-tumor effects against breast cancer, cervical cancer, and leukemia. A study published in Phytomedicine found that cat's claw extract significantly reduced DNA damage in cancer patients receiving chemotherapy, suggesting it may protect healthy cells while enhancing the body's own cancer-fighting capacity. Cat's claw is not a backyard plant in most climates. It grows as a large tropical vine. But high-quality, standardized extracts are widely available as supplements. The compound pentacyclic oxindoles, look for POA-containing extracts specifically, is the form with the strongest research behind it. The Amazon rainforest has been humanity's greatest undiscovered pharmacy. Cat's claw is one of its most compelling residents.
Plant 10. Wormwood, the ancient herb with modern cancer research. Wormwood, Artemisia absinthium, and its close relative Artemisia annua, has one of the most fascinating stories in the entire history of cancer research. Artemisinin, the compound extracted from Artemisia annua, was first developed as an anti-malaria drug, a discovery that earned Tu Youyou the 2015 Nobel Prize in Medicine. But what researchers discovered when they began investigating artemisinin's other biological activities changed the direction of cancer research in ways that are still unfolding today. Studies show artemisinin and its derivatives react with iron to produce free radicals, and cancer cells accumulate iron at rates dramatically higher than healthy cells. This means artemisinin selectively targets cancer cells with a specificity that chemotherapy drugs have never achieved. Research published in Life Sciences found that artemisinin was 34,000 times more potent in killing cancer cells than in killing normal cells. Studies have demonstrated effectiveness against breast cancer, ovarian cancer, prostate cancer, leukemia, and melanoma. Clinical trials are currently underway in multiple countries. Wormwood grows easily as a perennial herb in most temperate climates. It is hardy, drought-resistant, and virtually maintenance-free. It has been used in traditional European and Asian herbal medicine for centuries as a bitter tonic and digestive aid. The same plant that gave us one of the most important anti-malaria drugs in history is now at the center of some of the most promising cancer research in modern medicine. Sometimes the oldest remedies contain the most revolutionary science.
Plant 11. Astragalus, the immune system's greatest ally. Astragalus has been a cornerstone of traditional Chinese medicine for over 2,000 years. Chinese physicians called it Huang Qi, the yellow leader, and considered it one of the most important tonic herbs in their entire pharmacopoeia. It was prescribed specifically to strengthen the body's vital energy and enhance the immune system's ability to fight disease. In modern cancer research, those traditional observations have been translated into precise molecular language, and the findings are extraordinary. Multiple clinical studies, not just laboratory research but actual human trials, have shown that astragalus supplementation significantly improves outcomes for cancer patients. A meta-analysis published in the Journal of Clinical Oncology reviewed 34 randomized trials involving 2,815 patients and found that astragalus-based treatment, combined with chemotherapy, significantly improved survival rates, tumor response, and quality of life compared to chemotherapy alone. The active compounds, polysaccharides and saponins called astragalosides, enhance natural killer cell activity, stimulate T-cell production, and modulate the immune response against tumor cells. Astragalus grows as a beautiful perennial plant, producing clusters of small purple flowers. It prefers well-drained soil and full sun. The root is the medicinal part, harvested after 3 to 4 years of growth, dried and prepared as a decoction or tincture. It is also widely available as a standardized supplement. For anyone looking for a plant that works with the body's own immune system to fight cancer, astragalus has 2,000 years of traditional use and clinical trial data pointing in the same direction.
Plant 12. Green tea plant, the most studied anti-cancer plant on Earth. No plant has been studied more extensively for its anti-cancer properties than Camellia sinensis, the plant whose leaves are used to make green tea. The research database on green tea and cancer is enormous. Thousands of studies, multiple clinical trials, population studies across dozens of countries, and a growing body of molecular research revealing exactly why populations that consume green tea regularly have consistently lower rates of certain cancers. This is not emerging science. This is one of the most robust bodies of nutritional oncology research ever assembled. The key compound is epigallocatechin gallate, known as EGCG, one of the most powerful antioxidants ever identified, and the subject of over 1,000 published studies on cancer alone. EGCG has been shown to inhibit tumor growth, induce apoptosis in cancer cells, block angiogenesis, and prevent metastasis across multiple cancer types, including breast, prostate, lung, colon, and pancreatic cancers. Population studies in Japan, where green tea consumption is among the highest in the world, show consistently lower cancer mortality rates, particularly for stomach and liver cancer, compared to countries with low green tea consumption. Camellia sinensis can be grown as a garden shrub in USDA zones 7 to 9, and as a container plant in cooler climates. It produces beautiful white flowers and glossy evergreen leaves. Harvest young leaves and dry them for green tea. For therapeutic anti-cancer benefit, drink 3 to 5 cups of high-quality green tea daily. Matcha, which uses the whole leaf ground into powder, provides the highest concentration of EGCG. The most studied anti-cancer plant on Earth is also one of the most enjoyable medicines you will ever take.
Plant 13. Mistletoe, the Christmas plant that fights cancer. Most people know mistletoe as the Christmas plant you hang in doorways. Almost nobody knows that mistletoe extract, under the name Iscador or Helixor, has been used as a cancer treatment in European hospitals, particularly in Germany and Switzerland, for over 100 years. It is one of the most widely used complementary cancer therapies in Europe, and while it remains controversial in American oncology, the research behind it is far more substantial than most people realize.
Mistletoe contains compounds called lectins and viscotoxins that have demonstrated direct anti-tumor activity and significant immune-stimulating effects. Multiple clinical studies show that mistletoe extract used alongside conventional cancer treatment improves quality of life, reduces side effects of chemotherapy, and in several trials has shown improved survival rates. A systematic review published in the journal Oncologist analyzed 23 clinical studies and found consistent evidence that mistletoe extract improves quality of life measures in cancer patients across multiple cancer types. Mistletoe is a parasitic plant that grows on the branches of trees, oak, apple, and pine being the most common hosts. It cannot be conventionally cultivated, but grows wild across Europe and North America. Standardized mistletoe extracts are available and widely used in integrative oncology practices. The plant that hangs over doorways at Christmas, the one people stand under hoping to be kissed, has been used in European cancer wards for a century. Sometimes the most familiar things hide the most extraordinary secrets.
And here we are at plant 14, the one I told you about at the beginning. The plant that contains compounds researchers have called one of the most important anti-cancer discoveries in the history of medicine. You have almost certainly seen this plant. It grows as a common ground cover in gardens across the world. It produces small, delicate purple or pink flowers. Most people walk past it every single day without giving it a second thought. And inside its leaves are two alkaloids, vincristine and vinblastine, that have saved millions of lives. Vincristine and vinblastine, derived from Catharanthus roseus, the Madagascar periwinkle, are the basis of some of the most important chemotherapy drugs ever developed. Vincristine is a frontline treatment for childhood leukemia and has increased survival rates from less than 10% to over 90%. Vinblastine is used to treat Hodgkin's lymphoma, testicular cancer, and breast cancer. These are not laboratory curiosities. These are active pharmaceutical compounds used in hospitals worldwide every single day, derived directly from a garden flower that traditional Madagascan healers used for diabetes and blood pressure for centuries before any scientists knew it existed. Madagascar periwinkle grows easily as an annual in most climates, cheerful, low maintenance, producing a continuous carpet of flowers from spring through frost. It grows in poor soil, tolerates heat and drought, and asks for almost nothing. The plant that revolutionized childhood leukemia treatment, the flower that pharmaceutical companies spent decades and billions synthesizing the compounds from, growing in gardens everywhere. This is the most extraordinary reminder that nature arrived at these answers long before we did, and that the next great cancer cure might already be flowering in a garden near you right now.
14 plants. Some growing as weeds in your garden, some sitting in your kitchen spice rack, some flowering quietly in gardens that millions of people walk past every day without ever knowing what they're looking at.
Cancer research keeps arriving at the same conclusion that ancient healers reached thousands of years ago through observation alone, that nature has produced compounds of extraordinary sophistication and selectivity that modern pharmaceutical chemistry is still struggling to replicate. The difference is that we now have the molecular biology to understand exactly why these plants work, and the findings keep confirming what traditional medicine always knew. This is not a replacement for medical treatment. If you are dealing with cancer, work with your doctor. But the conversation about what nature offers, backed by peer-reviewed research and clinical evidence, is one that everyone deserves to have access to. If this video gave you information you have never heard before, smash that like button right now. It takes 1 second and it helps Golden Vol Garden reach people who need this knowledge and haven't found it yet. Drop a comment below and tell me which plant surprised you the most. Are you team turmeric and garlic? Team dandelion and wormwood? Team periwinkle, the garden flower that changed cancer treatment forever? I read every single comment. And if you are not yet part of the Golden Vault Garden community, hit subscribe and ring that bell. Every week we are uncovering the plants,
the ancient wisdom and the science that has always been growing right outside your door. The vault is open. I'll see you in the next one.